Hello, movie lovers. Today, we're diving into the awe-inspiring tale of The Man Who Knew Infinity from 2015. Imagine a poor, self-taught Indian genius boldly challenging the most brilliant mathematical minds of the West. Discover how Srinivasa Ramanujan revolutionized mathematics and left an indelible mark on the world. If you're fascinated by stories of genius, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a captivating story. Let's get started. The movie opens on a rainy day in 1920, set on the campus of Trinity College in Cambridge, England. Professor J.H. Hardy is seen deep in thought, contemplating an Indian man named Ramanujan. He reflects on the profound and intellectually intimate connection he shares with Ramanujan, describing it as one of the most platonic loves of his life. The scene then transitions to Madras, India, in 1914, where Srinivasa Ramanujan is seated on the floor of a temple, immersed in solving a complex mathematical problem. Ramanujan faces the challenge of finding employment due to his lack of a formal degree, leaving him feeling disheartened and distressed. He knows that he cannot start a life with his new wife until he secures a job to support her. The next day, Ramanujan presents his mathematical research to a prospective employer who, impressed by his work, offers him a position on the condition that Ramanujan also spends his evenings teaching Narayana, another scholar, the research he has written. Narayana introduces Ramanujan to his British superior, Sir Francis Spring, who initially disapproves of Ramanujan's appearance. However, he is eventually persuaded and appoints Ramanujan as a clerk in the accounting department. Ramanujan moves into a new house with his wife, Janaki, and his mother, and continues working with Narayana in the evenings. They discuss the importance of finding someone who can truly understand and appreciate Ramanujan's revolutionary ideas and mathematical formulas. Narayana suggests that they seek expertise outside of India for this purpose. One night, while Janaki is alone and unable to sleep, she goes to Ramanujan's workplace, longing to bring him home. The following day, Ramanujan confides in his mother, Amma, expressing his thoughts about finding someone outside of India to share his mathematical discoveries with. However, his mother objects due to their Brahmin background, which forbids them from crossing the sea. Despite his mother's reservations, Narayana believes that Ramanujan's work must be published to demonstrate their potential to the British. Sir Francis suggests 3 people in England who could assist Ramanujan, specifically mentioning Professor Hardy from Trinity College. Professor Hardy receives a letter from an Indian clerk claiming to have insights into the negative values of the gamma function, challenging some of Hardy's own assertions. Initially believing the letter to be from his colleague, Professor Littlewood, Hardy is astonished to discover that it is, in fact, a genuine letter from a clerk in India. Intrigued and impressed by the calculations, Hardy sends a letter back, inviting Ramanujan to Trinity College. As Ramanujan prepares for his journey, he cuts his hair and promises Janaki that he will bring her to England as soon as he is able. With a heavy heart, he bids farewell to his loved ones and embarks on the journey that will change his life forever. Upon arriving at Trinity College, Ramanujan is warmly welcomed by Professor Littlewood and is struck by the grandeur of the buildings and surroundings. Professor Hardy greets him and quickly arranges their first meeting, eager to begin their collaboration as soon as possible. The next morning, Ramanujan hurries to Hardy's office to ensure he arrives on time. Hardy and Littlewood greet him and explain that, despite his eagerness to publish his work, he must first attend lectures to learn how to formally prepare proofs of his theorems. Ramanujan astonishes both professors by presenting his groundbreaking discovery, a function that calculates the number of prime numbers less than a given value, xx, in an infinite series. They are stunned, realizing that they believed this problem would take a lifetime to solve. During dinner in the college hall, Ramanujan sits with an Indian student and his friend, who inform him that news of his prime number theory has spread, and everyone is talking about it. They also discuss Professor Hardy. Ramanujan excuses himself from the dinner table, as he is a vegetarian and finds the food unsuitable. The following morning, Ramanujan attends his lecture class. While other students diligently take notes, he simply observes the teacher. Annoyed by his lack of participation, the teacher challenges Ramanujan to solve an equation on the board. To the astonishment of the class, Ramanujan solves the problem effortlessly, despite the fact that the teacher has not yet completed the proofs necessary to solve it. Furious, the lecturer warns Ramanujan not to behave in such a manner again, telling him that he does not belong there. Confused as to why so much time is spent on finding proofs for formulas, Ramanujan discusses his frustration with Hardy. Hardy explains that if they want to challenge the greatest mathematicians of their time, their work must be beyond reproach. Hardy then takes Ramanujan to the Wren Library of Cambridge, where he emphasizes the importance of leaving a lasting legacy for future generations. Overjoyed, Ramanujan smiles as he receives a letter from his wife, Janaki, who tells him how much she misses him and eagerly awaits his letters. Inspired, Ramanujan discovers a new solution for partition theory and eagerly presents it to Hardy. However, Hardy informs him that without formal proofs, the solution is meaningless, and he cannot help him publish his work unless Ramanujan provides the necessary proofs for all his formulas. One night, Ramanujan gives Hardy the proof he has been tirelessly working on. The next day, Professor Hardy reviews the proof, marks the mistakes, and asks him to revise it. Though initially thinking they should wait, Hardy changes his mind and surprises Ramanujan by giving him a published version of one of his works, now complete with the additional proofs. Ramanujan runs with joy upon seeing his work finally in print. Meanwhile, back in India, news of Ramanujan's paper being published reaches his wife, Janaki, who misses him deeply. She writes him a heartfelt letter, but instead of mailing it, Ramanujan's mother, Amma, hides the letter. As World War I escalates in Belgium, Professor Littlewood is summoned by the War Office to assist with ballistics. One morning, Ramanujan goes out to buy vegetables, but due to the war, supplies are scarce. He also visits the post office, only to find that there is no letter waiting for him. On his way back to his room, he is followed by 3 British soldiers who recognize him. Resentful that they are being sent to fight in the war while Ramanujan lives in comfort in their country, they brutally beat him. He returns to his room, bruised and battered, only to find that the vegetables he purchased have been ruined by the attackers, leaving him with nothing to eat. In the following scene, we see Professor Hardy's frustration as the UDC, University Discussion Club, meeting he had organized is cancelled by the college due to political interference from some lecturers, coinciding with the outbreak of World War I in Belgium. As Professor Littlewood prepares to depart for the war, he writes to Hardy, urging him to ensure that Ramanujan's work is of great significance. He also points out that Ramanujan's prime number theorem contains an error that needs to be corrected before publication. Hardy confronts Ramanujan about the mistake in the theorem, urging him to focus on producing accurate proofs to avoid future errors. Ramanujan, feeling overwhelmed by the pressure and the sacrifices he has made, loses his temper. He angrily reminds Hardy of the sacrifices he has endured, including leaving his wife behind in India. After calming down, Ramanujan diligently works on correcting the proofs. Once completed, he slides the revised proofs under Hardy's door. The next day, Hardy expresses his appreciation for Ramanujan's work. At a student's funeral, Professor Hardy discusses his concerns about Ramanujan's behavior with his colleague, Bertrand Russell. Determined to validate Ramanujan's theorem on partitions, Hardy consults Major Percy McMahon, a leading authority in combinatorics at the university. Despite Major McMahon's skepticism, Ramanujan remains confident in his ability to solve the partition problem. Hardy and Major McMahon assign Ramanujan the challenging task of finding the partition of 200. The next day, Major McMahon is stunned by Ramanujan's solution to the partition problem. Suddenly, Ramanujan begins to cough violently, signaling the onset of his illness. As the days progress, his condition worsens, and he is in unbearable pain, forcing him to seek medical help. On their way to the hospital, Ramanujan and his friend Chandra narrowly escape a German Zeppelin bombing, although others are not so fortunate. Back in India, Janaki weeps over Ramanujan's notes, written on the floor of the temple. She is heartbroken, believing that Ramanujan has forgotten her. Meanwhile, Professor Hardy and Ramanujan continue to make significant progress on the partition problem. Hardy informs Ramanujan that he has nominated him for a fellowship, which brings a brief moment of happiness. However, that joy is short-lived as the fellowship is denied, and Ramanujan's health deteriorates rapidly. One night, unable to sleep due to a severe cough, he starts coughing up blood and hallucinates numbers on his hands. Stumbling through the campus, he collapses into a tent set up for injured soldiers. The doctors inform him that his condition has worsened significantly and advise him to put his affairs in order. Upon hearing this, Ramanujan loses hope and goes to a railway station, intending to throw himself in front of a moving train. Fortunately, the conductor saves him, and Ramanujan ends up in the hospital. When Hardy visits him there, he learns that Ramanujan has tuberculosis. Despite his worsening condition, Ramanujan's thoughts are consumed by Janaki, whom he believes has forgotten him. During a conversation with Hardy, Ramanujan shares his creative process, explaining how the god Namagiri reveals formulas to him through dreams and prayers. He adds that equations only make sense to him if they express a divine thought. Being an atheist, Hardy struggles to accept this belief. As they part ways, Hardy hands Ramanujan a letter from Janaki. In the letter, she tells him that she has left for her brother's house, believing that Ramanujan has forgotten her. Despite his illness, Ramanujan achieves a significant breakthrough by solving a complex mathematical problem and providing proof. This accomplishment prompts Hardy to push for Ramanujan's fellowship, beginning with a letter to Professor Littlewood seeking his assistance. Hardy presents Ramanujan's achievements and contributions to the Royal Fellowship members, delivering a moving and inspiring speech. As a result, Ramanujan is granted a fellowship of the Royal Society. Hardy sends him a telegram congratulating him on this honor. In the next scene, Janaki reads a letter from Ramanujan and rushes to search for the letters that had been hidden by Amma. She finds them, and Amma explains that she hid the letters to prevent Janaki from leaving, knowing that Ramanujan might not return if she asked him to stay. Ramanujan receives his fellowship from Trinity College, and after completing it, he decides to return to India. As he and Hardy prepare to say their goodbyes, Hardy complains about the dull number of the cab he arrived in, which was 1729. However, Ramanujan explains that 1729 is special because it is the smallest number that can be expressed as the sum of two cubes in two different ways. This number is now known as the Ramanujan number. A year later, Hardy receives a letter from India informing him of Ramanujan's death. He is deeply saddened by the news, and in the next scene, Hardy delivers a heartfelt speech about Ramanujan to his colleagues, while Janaki grieves her husband's passing in India. The movie then shows text about the rediscovery of Ramanujan's lost notebook in 1976. The formulas in it are now used to understand the behavior of black holes. Finally, the movie concludes with a series of real photographs of the people involved in the story and their futures. It is revealed that Ramanujan died at the age of 32 due to his illness, and Janaki never remarried, following Indian custom. Hardy and Littlewood continued their collaboration for the rest of their lives. The remarkable achievements of Ramanujan and Professor Hardy have inspired and influenced generations of mathematicians, leaving an indelible mark on the world of mathematics. The movie concludes with this powerful legacy. The Man Who Knew Infinity is more than just a biopic, it's a powerful tribute to the resilience of the human spirit. This film masterfully captures the extraordinary journey of an unsung hero whose mathematical brilliance continues to resonate today. With unforgettable performances by Dev Patel and Jeremy Irons, this movie will leave you inspired and deeply moved by Ramanujan's genius. We'd love to hear your thoughts on The Man Who Knew Infinity. Drop a comment below and tell us which movie you'd like to see recapped next. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell icon to stay updated with our latest recaps and reviews. Your support helps us keep bringing you the best in cinematic storytelling. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.